Welcome to the Bogart Podcast. Let's make this season 4, episode 1, because we have a new co-host. His name is Nick Duder. If you haven't seen Nicholas Bogart, because he's my son.
Yes.
If you guys don't know that I had a son way back in the day, and we reunited. But if you haven't seen Bogart's Friends, episode 1, go check it out, and you could see that Nick's on it. Nick Duder. So
Yeah.
you've had a crazy past, was it over 24 hours?
Yeah. Just don't eat random food that you don't recognize.
Yeah. Someone at work told me a whole situation about it. And, yeah, that's crazy, dude. So explain a little bit what happened.
It's just like watching hockey. Mom came home from a work Halloween party that they had, and she had somebody made a homemade Chex Mix thing, and it had candy corn in it. And I was like, oh, this is cool. So I just took a handful of it in the mouth. Like I'm watching hockey. I'm zoned into the game.
Yeah.
Take a handful of that, tree nuts in it.
Oh,
Down the hatch. I'm like, as soon as I ate, I'm like, oh, I messed up bad.
Oh no.
And then I tried really hard to fight it out, and it was a rough 2 hours of me just not feeling good, man. And then I tried to hit myself with the EpiPen, and EpiPen was expired. So
oh no.
no medicine came out of the EpiPen, and that was when I was like, it's time for the ambulance. But
oh no.
the part that sucked was all I needed was what the ambulance gave me, which was epinephrine and some injections of Benadryl. But
Yeah.
protocol is that if somebody administers you epinephrine, they have to bring you to the hospital.
Oh, okay.
And the protocol at the hospital is they have to observe you for 4 hours.
Okay.
So I was just sitting in this uncomfortable, granted, I got up at 6 o'clock, went to work, came home. Now I'm fighting this allergic reaction. I am just beyond exhausted. I can't rest. I can't fall asleep. And it was a bad 4 hours. And then I came home. I came home Friday morning. I got in my bed at 5 a.m. Friday morning.
Oh, wow.
And I was set alarm for 2 hours, and I basically didn't sleep. And I called up our boss. I was like, yeah, I was in the hospital. I'm not coming into work today.
Yeah. I wouldn't have come into work. Even if I was only there in the hospital for an hour, I would just call in. I would just been like, you know what? I've had a really crappy night. I'm not going into work.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm allergic to penicillin.
Okay. That's pretty common.
Yeah.
Allergy.
Penicillin is, I must have had an allergic reaction to it when I was little because, I don't remember ever taking it and having an allergic reaction, but my mom's like, yeah, you're allergic to penicillin. So
Mom knows best.
yeah, no, mom does know best. But yeah, so, I mean, yeah, my week's been kind of, I go to work. It's like Groundhog's Day. It's every day is the same day. You just go to work, come home, relax. But my girlfriend's out of town this weekend, and so yeah, we decided to record a podcast.
In La Casa.
In the
Humble
my
abode.
house. Trailer, whatever you would call it, house trailer. But we're in the house, warm, because the shed was super cold.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, we're gonna do this inside. So
It's getting to be that time where we're going to have to figure out something.
yeah, I was thinking about getting an electric heater for the shed,
That'll work.
but the only problem is that the last time I hooked up a heater to the outlet that goes to the shed, the breaker pops. So I don't think I could put a heater out there because it sucks too much energy. And I got this stuff already plugged up,
Right.
Yeah. So it's going to produce or use a lot of electricity and it'll just break the breaker. But yeah, because I had a propane heater for the shed. But then I read that you can't use it in enclosed area. It has to be vented. And there's 2 vents in the shed, but I don't really trust it. So I ended up selling that heater. And yeah, it's, I don't know, man. I think we're just going to podcast from inside the Sukasa or whatever you say.
La Casa.
La
That's what I
Casa.
said.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. So yeah, my girlfriend's out of town. She's visiting her college. It was early childhood conference. Because she's going to college for early childhood education. So yeah, man, it's just I've been bored as hell, man.
Oh yeah. So your girlfriend, she does online though, right?
Yeah.
But they have an in-person conference that she has to go to.
Well, I don't think she had to go to it, but she wanted to. So
like extra credit or
I don't know.
Just voluntary.
I think it's just voluntary. I think she wanted to go visit the college. And yeah, so I mean, I had to watch the dogs, so I stayed home. But she went with her mom, and it seemed like it's actually raining up there, and it's like she says it's pretty poopy up there. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've been bored as hell. I think I just stared at my phone for the last 2 hours because I was so bored.
It's a crappy day. What are you going to do anyway?
Yeah.
Man? It's an inside day.
I did walk to the gas station to get coffee. But,
there you go.
And then one of the Dunkin' Donuts people was like, "Oh, well, I have to do my effing prep still." And I'm like, holy, like this lady's losing her mind at work. And then the manager's like, you gotta go home. And so she stormed out yelling, and I'm like, holy shit. So,
dude, I just want coffee.
Yeah, really. And
I'm not here to start anything.
Yeah, the Dunkin' Donuts down the street has had problems with keeping employees there because who wants to work on a Dunkin' Donuts? Like, I don't know. Like, I guess if you really had to work, I guess that would be.
That's one of those have to work jobs.
Yeah, you have to. Because when I worked at Burger King, they had a zero tolerance for calling in. Like, you couldn't call in. Even if you did call in, you have to have a doctor's note. But I always worked a way around it. So
you were a manager though, right? Didn't you get, any sick time as a manager?
No. My boss was a drug user and made our lives a living hell there. And, but I mean, it was a good job to get in a management position so you can go to other places and get management jobs. But they look at your resume and be like, oh, well, you worked at Burger King as a manager. That's not really high-end management material. So, I mean, I don't know. I was 2007 to 2009. I worked at the Burger King I used to work at. And, yeah, I saw a lot of shit go down there that I don't eat fast food most of the time anymore because of the stories I have. So one day they had an ice fight and the kid took the dustpan, scooped it into the ice and started throwing ice on people. They didn't clean out that ice container when afterwards. It was just dirt in there from the dustpan. Yeah, that's why I don't eat a fast food, because there's horror stories that I've witnessed. And
well, I'm sure there's a lot of stories, but you know what, Evan? If it tastes good.
Yeah,
so at the end of the day, I'm like, I don't care. I mean, I don't eat fast food a whole lot. It's like once a month kind of deal.
Yeah.
If that for me, but.
Yeah. But I mean, it's, I don't know, man. Like, I ate fast food for 2 years straight because they used to give us a credit of $5 per shift. So you can get whatever you want on the menu, but it had to be like $5 range. So I used to get, like, when Whopper Juniors were $1, I used to get 5 of them and just eat them before work. And I did that for 2 years straight. Well, I wasn't like, the same or the same thing every time. I would get something different on the menu, but just after eating that for a while, you get sick. Like, it's just pure sodium that you main, and it, and I didn't care back then. I was, drinking and all that kind of stuff. So I didn't really care what I put in my body, but, yeah, I mean, it was a fun time, It was a fun time, but would I ever work in fast food again? No.
I've heard a lot of good things about Chick-fil-A though, and their practices. It's it's a Christian owned.
Yeah,
they just opened up. So like if you've been on the Thruway,
mm-hmm.
they have like these new
Thruways
rest stations.
Yeah,
now.
yep.
And it's like Starbucks and Chick-fil-A. I'm super excited because we don't have a Chick-fil-A near us. So every time I go on the Thruway, now I will try to get Chick-fil-A. Like go out of my way just to try it because I haven't had it before, and it's like
we went to we use this app called Sniff Spot. It's you go to people would rent their backyards to have a dog park, and and so we did that. What was it? Thursday, and we drove by a Chick-fil-A, and I think it was Henrietta near Rochester, kind of in that area. I was thinking about stopping and going, but we had the 2 dogs and they go crazy if we go through the drive-through window and they're just like, you know. Yeah, that was a nightmare the other day too when we did the Sniff Spot. There was an accident on 490 and we left the Sniff Spot at 5:30. We didn't get home until 7:30. It took us 2 hours. Usually it's a 45-minute drive. Took us 2.5 hours to get back home. It was miserable. I wasn't feeling good as well, you know. But yeah, it was horrible. It was a horrible drive home, and you know, I was in a bad mood. But yeah, I mean, so yeah.
Some changes going on in the podcasting.
Yeah, so you know, I don't know if I can get into too much about it, but Nate and Dave want to do another podcast. They wanted to rebrand, but I didn't want to lose the Bogart podcast. I didn't, I worked on this for about 1.5 years, just working on everything like the website and social media.
It's your baby.
It's my baby. And I don't really want to, just rebrand and then like lose, what I did for like 1.5 years. So, Dave and Nate are stubborn. They're stubborn people. Like you can never win with them. And so I was like, yeah, we'll do it, but I'm going to keep the Bogart podcast and Nick's going to come in and, be the new co-host. And it sucks, cause I grew up with Dave all my life. We were friends in elementary school and, high school and all that, but it saves the argument just to agree with them and just be like, hey, we'll do another podcast, but I'm keeping the Bogart podcast. So that's what we did. They want, and we didn't podcast for like it was like a month we didn't podcast because they were frustrated with me and, I was frustrated with them. So I was like, you know what, let's take a break. Let's regroup. And so we ended up going to like Chili's for dinner and we discussed and we came to agreement. And so, yeah, now Nick Duder is going to be the new co-host and we'll have another podcast. But we haven't came up with a name yet for it and whatnot. So, I mean, it's still a work in progress. It's a little headache, but it's shit happens.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad I can help out. This is really cool. It's a cool experience for me. Get to talk to one of my good friends who I've grown close to over a couple of months now. And, I'm excited. Going to try to be here as best I can.
Yeah.
But we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I mean, that's what I was worried about, the weather and stuff like that, and the shed. So I was like, so we have a good show for you today. I got some cool videos. I forgot to email them from my phone to my computer, but we'll work around it. But there was this bus driver. She had cancer and she was going through all the treatment. And so she was at work. So this is what is strange about this story. the lady had found a White Claw in the school bus garage refrigerator, which is kind of weird because you wouldn't think alcohol would be at a school at all, like any kind of alcohol. But she took it for a bus ride, and she was drinking it with the kids in the bus, and someone saw it and was like, this is so not cool. Like, the bus driver drinking alcohol with a bunch of kids. So the people that saw this called the police. The police came, saw that she had a White Claw right in the cup holder, and she claims that she didn't know that White Claw had alcohol in it. And
bogus. There's no chance.
So, and so I will play a clip right here.
I've been crying. I can't even have more tears for just a mistake. It was a mistake. For the people like me, they don't drink. How they get it? Oh, this is hard. Like, normally I take a snack and food because the chemo, I have to eat stuff, and I'm working late.
Suffering through chemo treatments, Hannah has trouble tasting and says she didn't taste any alcohol. She also claims she didn't know there was alcohol in White Claws.
It was a mistake. I'm fired. I'm gonna be in the street because of mistake.
But she was crying. She was like, there's when
actually there is a chance that you probably could. It depends on the kind of person, but there's probably people out there that don't know that White Claw has alcohol in it or know what that is. But how do you grab something and like not look at what it is?
Yeah,
just take it and grab it and go. Like,
yeah, I mean,
I would like read the label and be like, "Oh, this is alcohol." No, never mind. I'm not taking it on the bus.
And usually it says right on the can, like, has alcohol, or, there's a point. What's White Claw? I think it's
5%.
5% alcohol in it, White Claw. So it's like.
They have like the 8% ones too.
Oh, yeah. Well,
they're like double a double White Claw.
They're bigger cans, and they're
I think I don't know.
They're like blue. I think I don't know. When I did drink White Claws, I would buy them in the tall, and I don't mind the hard seltzers, but I was a Labatt Blue guy. That's all I drank was Labatt Blue. Like my friend got me into them. And yeah, that was just, every Christmas I would hang out with him, and his parents would have a cooler full of Labatt Blue. So I would go and take a bunch of Labatt Blue, and we would sneak them off, and, and then once we got older, they would just let us have it. They're like, yeah,
right.
You guys are almost 21, so you guys can just drink. So, but yeah, my good friend got me into Labatt Blues. But yeah, this lady though, now she's trying to get her job back, and she's claiming that her taste buds, because of the medication of the cancer, she can't taste alcohol.
That's a wild
yeah. It's
like almost unprovable.
Yeah, it's like it sucked that it happened, because she had cancer, and and she can't taste alcohol as well. But you gotta use your judgment a little bit.
Use your eyeballs, man.
Yeah,
look at the can.
You look at the can, and she wanted to compare a non-alcoholic seltzer and a regular seltzer, but you look at a can, and you could just tell that it has alcohol in it. Like there is no, And I have a weird feeling she's going to get a lawyer involved, but it's almost not worth the fight anymore. Just move on.
I mean, you really would have to be living under a rock to not recognize White Claw, man. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Every store you go to, White Claw. Every gas station, White Claw.
Yeah,
it's everywhere. So unless it was this weird off flavor White Claw in a weird blue black can. She's like, oh, this looks like an iced coffee or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. And those White Claws too are the skinny cans, like the skinny alcoholic cans. You can't, usually the regular seltzers or the non-alcoholic seltzers, they're kind of in a bigger can, like a 12-ounce can, like a fat 12-ounce can.
To delineate?
What?
To delineate from like an alcoholic to a
Yeah,
non-alcoholic.
yeah. So I mean, those skinny cans are usually just meant for like alcohol, like they're like signature, like the what is that one alcohol called? Ultra or I don't know.
Michelob Ultra.
Yeah, Michelob Ultra. Like they also have skinny.
Those are skinny. Yeah, my mom likes those.
But yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. This lady, I don't know. I'd just say bite the bullet and find a new job. But
yeah, like start over. I'm
yeah.
sorry. In middle school, we had a vending machine that had, you know what Izzy's are? Do you remember Izzy's? Izzy. It was like this. It's like a seltzer, but it had no alcohol. It was like they had like cherry, watermelon, and those were all the hype, dude.
Yeah.
People would get them like every day. It was like a rite of passage to sit at the cool table with Izzy's at lunch.
Izzy's.
I
never.
You can look them up.
I'll have to look it up.
If you can find some for me, man, it would bring back so many memories.
Easy. Maybe I'll have to look on Amazon and
It was just this weird middle school vending machine drink that I've never seen again.
Yeah.
But it was kind of cool.
When I was in high school, they had a vending machine. It was like a very new, had a conveyor belt, and it would drop on the conveyor belt and then go into the slot. Well, we found a trick to get 2 sodas in one. So what we would do is when the soda can would go right into the slot, we would hold it there, and the conveyor belt would keep going. And somehow, for some reason, it would drop another one. So you would get 2 in one.
You probably didn't register that the first one was gone.
Yeah, and then we used to do with the snack machine when they had the snack machine, they had candy in it, but then they were like, "Oh, candy's not healthy anymore. You know, we can't have this in the school." But when it was in the school, we used to take a tape measure, and there's a slot where you push in and grab the snack, but we would take a tape measure, go underneath it, and extend it, and poke the candy, and it would drop down.
It's like an operation going on. Did you have like a spotter?
No,
looking out for.
They didn't care.
They didn't give it.
The school didn't own the vending machines. Some soda company did, so they didn't care. They sometimes they would just freaking punch the machine and rock it back and forth and shaking all the candy out and stuff like that. But yeah, that ended quick. They just like, yeah, we can't have these vending machines anymore. And but yeah, I don't know. But they so they had a program after school. It was like a kids hangout, and they had the cafeteria open with like snacks, like Pop-Tarts and all that stuff. And so I used to go up there with no money, and I was like, "Oh, I don't have any money. Can I pay you tomorrow?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure. Why not?" And I would never pay them back. I would just
Duder.
I would take it, and they had like a list of people that owed money, and I was on the top.
You were on the top in red ink.
Yeah.
Underlined 3 times.
Yeah. So, I mean, I wasn't proud of what I, basically never paying, but you know what? I pay school taxes now,
Retribution, I guess.
Yeah. I pay
alimony.
I pay school taxes. So you know what? They getting their money back somehow for this candy I stole. But I mean, what was your, favorite class in high school?
Favorite class in high school?
Yeah.
Can I give like a cop-out answer? Be like gym? That's like,
There you go.
No,
Yeah.
no. A class that I found actually interesting, there was 2. Band was a pretty big part of my life. Just the teacher that I had there, the 2 teachers I had there were very accommodating to me. This was when I was going through a transitory period in my life when I was, I had an injury to my leg, which stopped me from playing sports.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I picked up the guitar and picked up music. And
Yeah.
so I talked to my guidance counselor, and she put me in band. And my teacher there, his name was Mr. Strasser. He was a very welcoming presence in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And, he just had my back with everything. He welcomed me into band. I mean, I didn't really know how to read music that well, but I did a little writing, some music. So he took a liking to me. I took a liking to him. And eventually I was his student aide in junior year. So I helped him with a lot of the shows and plays that went on and all that stuff. Did his clerical work. So that was kind of cool. And then AP English. I was in AP English. That was a cool class. Our teacher was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
That was a cool class.
Yeah. I think my favorite class was technology. They had it was like wood shop and technology combined together, and we learned like a bunch of stuff. But then I kind of stopped liking that class and more into computer stuff. There was like Photoshop and all that kind of stuff. I learned everything through high school. And with Photoshop,
I think we had like a Photoshop Adobe class. I forgot. I think it was for art, maybe.
Yeah.
Nobody did anything. Nobody knew anything or learned anything.
Yeah. It's like a basket weaving class. That's what I call it. It's like you don't learn anything in that class. You just have to show up every day to get a good grade. It's not like there was no like quizzes or whatnot. So
we used Google Drive. In high school. Because our school system like transitioned from Microsoft Office because they were poor and couldn't pay for it to Google. I actually prefer Google anyway, the whole Google suite. And some kid shared Minecraft on everybody's Google Drive. And in senior year in math class, I just remember in the computer lab, we were all playing Minecraft and the teacher could see it and she didn't care.
Wow.
We were just like, we're done. We're playing Minecraft in school. It was so funny. Some kid shared the file and it was on everybody's shared list.
Yeah.
I don't know. Nobody knew who it was. He was a secret hero.
Oh, wow.
But Minecraft in school.
There was, what was it? So they had a parental control on the internet browser, but we found like a website that you basically type it in and then type in what website you wanted to go to, and it would bypass the parental control. Because basically our senior years and stuff like that, we used MySpace. That was like the big social thing. So we did that. We just used this basically bypass the parental control. And then there was another one called graffiti something. I can't remember what it was, but you could go on websites and permanently destroy them. Like it was like an art program where you can spray paint on the website and it would embed the code into it.
Man.
So like you would find these websites with like graffiti all over them, and you would have to like really shut down the website, get rid of that part of the code inside. And yeah, it was crazy.
So I would just be going on like yahoo.com and I just see Bogart rules.
Yeah. In like spray paint. And it was, some websites wouldn't work on like Google and all them because it's like but like bootleg websites, you can destroy them easily. So, but yeah, I mean, we were such troublemakers back then. We would get in so much trouble, but yeah, I don't know. So the other thing, I wanted to talk about was, this guy, I'll play the video here, but this guy, was very angry that the Pride Parade was taking, or all the roads were closed. So he drove through the blockage of the roads, drove over, and then, was basically almost running over pedestrians. And, it was, oh my God, he was so mad at it. He was so mad. He's swearing at him. He almost running over people. Like, I understand that you're frustrated because the roads are closed, but I don't know if you can go overboard and, run over pedestrians. But it reminds me of a thing that happened. This was, I was hungover and it was the Memorial Day parade in Bloomfield here. And, I was, had the sunglasses on, drinking water because I was super hungover. And this cat runs out and fucking this car runs over the cat in front of kids. You
told me the story.
And I was like, oh my, I can't handle this. Like, I can't, like, and so I was like, I'm going home, and the person never stopped. That person just went off, didn't care about the stupid cat, but yeah, I don't know.
Probably thought it was a pothole, honestly.
Yeah, possibly, but
unless the cat went like flying over the windshield and.
No, I think it just went underneath the car, and then like it was just almost it was just dying there. So I mean, people were like running up to it, and it's like, there's so much you can do, once
Yeah, do you want to go see a better angle of a cat dying? Like what?
Yeah, no, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just the cat is dying. I would just put it out of its misery. Just like
that's the only reason you should be running up to it.
Yeah, just put it out of its misery. Awesome. It's I don't know. I mean, I have 2 dogs, and if they were dying, I would put them out of their misery. I wouldn't let them suffer. It's just. It's not human. It's I see these people like trying to save their pets and whatnot, and they're like dying, and it's like they spend thousands of dollars to keep them alive. But it's at the end of the day, you got to make them comfortable and whatnot. So I dread the day I have to do that to one of my dogs, but it's gonna happen. I tell my girlfriend, it's like you got to be prepared for that stuff. Like Maddie, our one dog. She came from a hard life. Like she was in a kill shelter in Tennessee. And then somehow I think this like group of people rescued her from this non-kill shelter and brought them up to Herkimer, New York, which is about it's like 2 hours away. Mm-hmm. And so we drove there and we picked up Maddie. Oh, she heard her name. We picked her up, and when we get there, she was rough shape. She needed a bath real bad, and heartworms. It was not a good situation. Well, they didn't tell us she had heartworms. So when we got there, we're like, oh, fuck, we're already here. Might as well, give her a better life. And we brought her home. We took her to the vet. We gave her a bath. And at first she didn't understand that she has a permanent home now. She thought she was going to be bounced around to different homes like she was. So she was stressed out, and she's still stressed out to this day, but she's not as bad, so, but yeah, I don't know. Dogs, I love dogs more than cats. I don't like cats at all.
I'm not a big cat guy at all.
Cats are not my thing.
They think they own everything.
We had a cat growing up, and it was a nasty old thing. It would hiss at you every time you walked by it. It scratched. So I was petting it, and it swapped me right up in the upper part of my eye and got the hook, or her nail hooked into my eyelid and pulled out. And I was like gushing blood.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was crazy. And so that's the day I hate cats.
I just think like cats view you as an equal, or they view themselves as an equal in the relationship, whereas dogs don't. The dogs are loyal and submissive, and that's why I don't understand the nature between somebody owning a cat, because like you don't own a cat, you just cohabitate with a cat. Yeah. And that's why I don't particularly care for them as pets. Yeah. Because I just think it's like, it's not really a pet. A dog is more loyal and submissive, and that's kind of what I think pets should be. Yeah. And cats are just very territorial though. Yeah. And that's just in their DNA. Yeah. And I also like that when you get home from work and the dog's like, oh, I'm happy to see you. I'm happy, and it feels good. It feels like, Cat's like, what are you doing here? Yeah. I have been in this house all alone all day, and now my human comes home. F that. No, I mean like, no. Oh, this guy. Yeah. This weirdo. No, dogs, when you get home, they're excited. I work basically to feed the dogs. Like they're expensive. Dogs are expensive. Their medication, their Maddie's heartworm medication and Lucy's, heartworm prevention medicine, it's like $50. It's not cheap. And then the dog food, that's another $60 every, week. And then you have to wash them, and they're expensive. Dogs are expensive. You should ask about our employee discount at where we work. Oh, so funny story with that. So I did that. I was like, I'll blind out his name. But I was like, I wanted to know if I can get my employee discount and, order food
through work. He's like, yeah, I'll look it up. And he's like, yeah, you're not going to save a lot. You might as well just go to the store and get it. So I was like, okay,
Oh,
well,
really?
I'm not going to get dog food through work. So, I mean, I think he was, I don't know. He's grumpy sometimes, our boss, but yeah, a lot of people at work, listened to the podcast we did, Bogart's Friend, episode 1. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I got a mixed reaction from it, from some of the people.
Really?
Yeah.
Do tell.
A kid named Justin that we worked with, he liked it. He said it was pretty cool, and he gave me some pointers, and he wants to collab with me to get more views and stuff like that, which I don't mind. So, but yeah, I mean, and then the other people were like, oh, it's an hour and 21 minutes long. That's so long. It's like, well, podcasting, you have an episode, it's about an hour and a half, for a decent podcast. But I mean, I hate the podcasts that are like 30 minutes long. It's like, it's kind of too short. Like, I feel like it's got to be like a movie almost.
I never thought that podcasts I listen to are at least an hour.
Yeah.
At least.
It has to be within an hour to an hour and a half. That's what I think a good podcast, and a good conversation with a co-host or like, whoever's doing the podcast. So, but yeah, I mean, we had mixed reactions,
But that's it? There was, by mixed, just mean people complained it was long?
Yeah. I mean, I guess that was only it.
That's not mixed.
That's just opinions,
people being, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. And then our boss was like, "You do a podcast?" I'm
Oh
like,
no! Please tell me he didn't listen to it.
I don't think he did. I don't think he's a person that does listen to podcasts. I think he.
He's not a person that listens to your podcast.
Yeah, I don't think
That's a fact.
Yeah, I mean,
You might listen to some podcasts.
maybe. I don't know. Management podcast or boss podcast. How to
The Boss Podcast.
the boss podcast. You learn different ways to put down your workers and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. No, yeah, I don't know. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk some more. And yeah, so we'll be right back.
I sat on your car and dented the hood again. This isn't your fault, but who's gonna pay for it? I see from your face that things should be different. We've always been good, but we'll never be here again. If you feel you're wasting time, then your cops should run over. When we'll remind, hold it till the bitter end. We'll never be here again. I'm always behind the feelings you fed to me. Division of life, the game of the century. For what it's worth, I know I don't wanna pay. Forever lacking all days. If you feel you're wasting time, then your cops should run over. We won't remind, hold it till the bitter end. We'll never be here again. We'll never be here again. If you feel
And we're back. So yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think of anything else I want to cover, but I mean, when I prepare for podcasts, I'll have like a huge list, but when I get going on the podcast,
Did you want to show the video?
I'll just put those videos up on,
The overlay?
yeah,
Oh, gotcha.
when I do the editing and whatnot, but,
I thought you didn't want to live react to it.
no, I mean, it's weird because with the equipment I have, if I show a video, you can't really hear the audio because it's recording through the Rodecaster. And then, it's usually I just put the video up when I'm editing and then, but what was I going to say? So we went to the Great Festival.
We did go to the Great Festival.
We went to the Great Festival. It was fun, but right around probably 2 o'clock, or it was like we left at 2 o'clock, I think. By like
You started leaving at 2.
Yeah, by 1 o'clock, it was too much. It was way too much. A lot of people.
Yeah, it was a lot of people for a little space.
Yeah. I mean, Naples isn't really that big of a town. So, I mean, it's just, you got like, how many people do you think was there?
Just the amount of shoulders you and I touched.
Yeah.
Walking down the sidewalk was like too many shoulders.
Yeah. And then it's like cattle. Like you're just walking and you're just cattle, basically. I mean, and then I wanted to get food at this one place, and then the meat that was sitting in this like bin was like, you took a
peek behind the closed doors and never do it.
And then again, I worked at fast food, so I know disgusting shit. And so I was like, maybe. So we found this one pizza place. It was really good. What was it called? Neapolitan in Naples.
I think it was a brick oven? No, I don't know.
Yeah, it was brick oven.
It was brick oven.
Yeah, it was brick oven.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
I recommend if you can get there.
Yeah.
They were packed.
Yeah. But how long does a brick oven pizza take? Like it only takes only 5 minutes, right? For in a brick oven pizza?
I think it's slightly faster than like a conventional oven, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, people were there before we got there, when we got there, and as we were leaving, people were sitting down. It was just, they were doing good business, but.
Yeah. I mean, just imagining opening up a pizza place in Naples at Great Festival, you got to make a lot of money. A lot of money. Because how much is dough? Like, dough's probably $1, $2. And then pizza sauce, another probably $1.
Yeah, you think they stock up before?
Oh, yeah.
They got to.
You have to, because you don't want to run out of everything, right when it gets good, when you have a lot of customers. It's like you have to stock up. I took Nick to Sutton Spoons.
That was a cool little place.
Yeah, it's like a hunting and fishing store. Bought a hoodie that was way too expensive. Kind of regretted that.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, the lady was ringing me up and she's like, oh, I think it was like $45 to $50 for that hoodie. It was, but you know what,
the
though?
Price of a hoodie.
But, I always wanted a Sutton Spoons hoodie. I'm wearing actually a Sutton Spoons shirt now.
Represent. And that's what you're doing. You're buying into the local market.
Yeah. I grew up in Naples all my life. And Sutton Spoons is world known for making fly fishing hooks, or bait, not hooks, but bait. And it's just, if you have Sutton Spoons tackle, you're
good to go.
You're good to go.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look at the tackle someday.
Yeah, I don't know if they have a website where they sell the stuff, because the people that own it are ancient. I don't think they have
internet.
I don't think they know how to use the internet. I could be wrong though. I mean,
did she ring you up with a traditional cash register? I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, it was an old school cash
ding ding.
Yep. But they might know the internet, because when I was working in the nursing home, there was these 80, 85, 90-year-old people that were using like tablets and like, and so, it's not really hard to learn technology, but it's addictive, to some people.
Yeah.
That's like the downside of everything, the whole technology, tablets, computers and stuff like that. It's just the addictive part of it, like watching TikToks for like hours and
doom scrolling.
Yeah. And, but yeah, I mean, so yeah. And then we found a bar, like this random bar. It was like someone's house with a built bar.
Oh, dude, that was so cool.
It was
100% not legal.
No, it wasn't. And
No.
it was like a red carpet leading into the entrance.
Beer Garten.
Yeah.
Spelled weird. We're like, I saw it out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, what is this? And then we followed the red
thing.
And
it was like just a bar with like
some guys,
a mini stage. It was
there was a fire going.
Yeah. And it was so cool. And I wish my drinking days, I would have found that place, because I guarantee you that would have been one hell of a good time. We'll have to go back to Naples and go see what that place looks like in the weekend. So
I'm surprised there weren't as many people there we were there pretty early though. We were at that place pretty early. So
yeah.
But yeah. The wine tasting was pretty cool. Evan took me early.
Yeah. You have to go early.
I thank him for that, because on the way back, we looked in there and talk about cattle, man. That was like you can't even breathe in there.
Yeah.
With the amount of people that were in there. But the time back, but
it was disappointing though at the Grape Festival. They had a bigger wine tasting when I went like a few years ago, and it was just not as many vendors most, like, would you say about half of them were like whiskey?
It's like two or three distilleries that showed up, I think.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I got a couple bottles. I got one from Thousand Islands Winery.
Yeah.
Called Captain Select. It was just really good. It had blackberry infused in it.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Yeah.
And then I got one from a Bristol winery.
Yep.
And that was cool. I wanted to support the local ones. But yeah, the Red Cat stuff that was over there, it's like drinking grape juice, man.
Yeah,
it was like juicy juice.
Yeah, that's more of like an industrial
party wine.
Yeah, that's
for your aunt.
I was thinking more of like college kids. They would buy a big bottle of wine and then go crazy. But yeah, I mean, Red Cat.
It's cool that it was free. I mean, that's awesome. But I can definitely understand why it's free.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
It's mass produced.
Mass produced. That's a good word.
It's not. It's not like the wines you bought at the wine tasting tent. Those were, I think, probably smaller, independent businesses. Ooh. And stuff like that. So, I mean, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't like wine. I had a bad experience with it. It's
such a shame, because you and I could be, but I understand. I love it, man.
Yeah, I can't do wine. I just can't. Blueberry wine. It makes me even gag just thinking about it.
Blueberry wine.
Yeah, I bought blueberry wine. I bought like a couple other wines, and we drank them all in one night, and I had the worst hangover in the lifetime. Yeah. It was bad. It was really bad. I did research while I was hungover to see if there was a company that had the IV.
Liquid IV?
Yeah.
You heard of them?
Yeah, Liquid IV. Those were good. I have some, actually. I have it's not Liquid IV. It's like a knockoff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Liquid IV. I wish they would sponsor our podcast. So Liquid IV, sponsor us.
The Bogart Podcast. Reach out.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, that's funny. That's another funny thing you brought up, Liquid IV. I used to put that in my water bottle for work, because at work in the summertime, it was hot.
Yeah.
The first couple of weeks, I got heat poisoning. Couldn't eat for like 3 days. It was bad. But then my body kind of got used to the heat and work, and I'm fine now. I was really sore. The first 2 weeks I worked where we worked. or works. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, I used to put liquid IV in water bottles and drink them
Yeah.
to stay hydrated.
It works, man.
What is liquid IV? Is like sodium, isn't it? It's just straight up sodium because you sweat.
No, it's electrolytes.
Yeah, electrolytes and like sodium and like it's just like a mixture of goodness.
Yeah, like think of all the things like the Powerade has minus like the sugar.
Yeah.
It's just purely the electrolytes and the sodium and the like vitamins
Yeah.
from when you're hungover or just not feeling it from the night before.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, there was a thing. So back in the day, in my drinking days, there was a product called Drink-A-Mate, and Drink-A-Mate was it was like a charcoal pill that you would chew.
oh yeah,
And then it would absorb the alcohol. So you would take it the night that you go to bed drunk, and you're supposed to feel fine. And so I remember buying it, and every time I drank, I would not remember to take it. And then it would be sitting on like the kitchen or the bathroom sink. And I'm like, fuck, I could have, tried it and see if it actually worked and not feel as bad. But I don't know, man. It's all just snake oil, basically. Charcoal pill. Like, think about it. Like,
yeah.
what is the advantage of chewing on charcoal and, to make you not feel hungover in the morning? Like, what is the science? Like,
Where's the science?
Yeah, like I think it's just all snake oil. There's this cool show called Snake Oil on Fox, and we'll have to watch an episode of it. But it's they have two products, and you have to find or figure out which one is not snake oil.
That's like a knockoff of like Cake or No Cake, isn't it?
Yeah, basically.
Cake or No Cake.
Cake or No Cake. Yeah. It's yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like that show, but it's gonna focus on me now.
It's fine.
Yeah, it has what is that actor that always in Adam Sandler movies? I can't remember his name.
David Spade.
Yeah, David Spade's the host of it.
Yeah.
And it is so hilarious. Like some of the products that they have on it.
Oh yeah.
One of them was a smart cane, like what old people would use. It's a smart cane with like GPS in it and stuff like. It's just so stupid. Some of these products.
GPS cane.
Yeah, and then
It's like turn left in 2 steps.
yeah, and then some of these products, you're surprised they are actually venison whiskey. It tastes like venison.
That's disgusting.
And yeah, and I can't remember if it was real or not, but yeah, some of these products were fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
It was funny. I turned it on one night and I was like, yeah, this is probably gonna be stupid, but it was actually kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, what was it? Yeah, I mean, I hate paying for television when there's nothing on. I spent what was it? I spent over, I think I did the math, it was like $75 for streaming services and cable. And I'm like,
And cable?
Yeah. And cable. But I did have a cable box that I never used, and they charged me $10 a month just for the box, which I only turn on like maybe once every month. So it's just a waste of money just having all these. I sat down and I was like, what streaming services do I use, which I don't use anymore? And I saved a little bit of money, but I'm still buying TV, which there's nothing ever on. I hate it. I hate blowing money on stuff I know.
Yeah.
It's like I work hard for my money and it's going down the drain for like a rerun episode of Friends or a rerun episode of something else. Because Comedy Central, all they do is play The Office. That's all they play. And, I love The Office, but when you watch it for like a couple hours, you're like, man,
Plus with like the commercials, it's like,
oh yeah, these streaming services have no commercials, which is awesome. But you watch cable and you're like, well, why the hell am I paying for some?
So apparently, Amazon Prime Video is coming out with commercials now, and you have to, if you want. So like, if you have Prime, you get one of the biggest benefits is Prime Video,
Mhm.
and it has like some Amazon originals and some movies and TV shows. It's not a excellent selection like compared to Netflix, but it comes with your Amazon Prime subscription. And recently, Amazon has decided that no, we're gonna the base model is gonna have the one that you get in your subscription for Prime is gonna have commercials, and if you want commercial free, you have to pay like $2 to $3 extra now.
Wow, that's crazy.
Oh yeah, man.
Because when I got Hulu, there's like a price you have to pay to have no commercials. So I'm like, well, yeah, I'm not gonna pay for commercials. I think it was only like $5.99, but you had to watch ads in the videos. And then so I was like, I don't want to watch ads, so I bought the ad-free version, and there's some cool things on Hulu, but Netflix I had to get rid of.
I just watched a movie on Hulu last night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. On the freeloader.
Yeah. Nick's like, oh, I wish I had Hulu, and I'm like, you could just use mine. Nick wanted to use my streaming services, and I let him use it, and it's kind of like, I'm almost like this way. I give you free services, you could do the podcast with me,
Yeah.
It's almost like payment.
Yeah, I'll take it.
I got rid of Netflix though. Netflix, there was never anything on, and
It's
all
like,
the good.
what is it, upwards of $20 now almost for like.
Yeah,
we have the 4K version, which is got to be like $20 now a month.
Yeah,
And you're just like, barely anything on there, man.
Yeah,
It's got Seinfeld, which I love, but
Seinfeld.
Seinfeld, yeah,
Oh, really?
it's on Netflix.
I think it's on. I don't know. I think it's what show was Seinfeld on? Can't remember.
What is
NBC, I think it was back in the day. I don't know.
I don't know. That's way before my time. When
Yeah,
on TV.
because my parents would watch reruns of it on.
My dad owns every season on DVD,
Oh, okay.
but
Yeah,
we don't have a DVD player.
I can't remember what it was on. I think it was on NBC or ABC. I don't know. But my parents used to watch it all the time, like reruns of it, because it was. I think it started way before my time, and that could.
No, it was about your time,
Yeah,
the 90s.
but I thought it was in like the late 80s. Well, I was born in 87, so maybe it was in my time. But
That's a show that you can just put on and like no matter what mood you're in, I think it's hilarious. It's people like when I tell them I watch Seinfeld, they're like, "What?"
yeah,
It's like you don't know humor.
yeah. I've been watching Frasier.
Oh yeah.
Frasier, it's okay. But they have the new Frasier out now. It's like the older version of him, and he has a son and stuff like that. But Frasier is pretty funny too, and probably you can pick up the dog drinking water right next to us. But yeah, no, Frasier's good. I like Frasier. The Office, I like. Breaking Bad, I like that.
I've been watching Parks and Rec on Peacock.
Yeah, how is that?
Not as good as The Office, but good still at the same time.
Yeah, I watched a couple episodes. It's like, not really.
I actually think the first season of Parks and Rec is a better first season than The Office. I think The Office's first season is not as good as Parks and Rec's first season, but
Yeah.
the rest of the show of The Office like blows Parks and Rec out of the water. But it's still kind of funny.
Yeah.
I laugh at it sometimes. So
I'm trying to think other shows I watch. Peaky Blinders. Have you ever watched that?
I watched that before the hype. Like
Okay.
that was on, I want to say 2015 maybe.
Yep.
It was a long time ago when the first season came out, and it was very underrated. Like nobody talked about it. And then Cillian Murphy blew up, and then me and my dad went to go see Oppenheimer
Okay.
recently, and that was a experience. It was a 3-hour movie. So a movie theater 3 hours feels like a real life 6 hours.
Oh yeah.
When you're sitting in the movie theater for 3 hours, it feels like you're there forever, man.
Yeah.
It's a long time. And we had like an 8:20 showtime. And this movie's talking about like relative theory of quantum mechanics. And I'm like, This is just not the time of day to be watching a movie and trying to absorb that kind of information. Like I was like lost halfway through the movie. I was like, I'm just gonna watch this. But so I sit down and we get to our seats. I bought my dad tickets. Him and I. It was like a gift from me to him. And right in the middle of the theater, perfect seats. We get there and I sit down and there's this like really attractive girl on my right. And her dad, and then my dad's on the left. And if you don't know about this movie, there's like a couple of adult scenes in this movie. So I'm sitting there watching this with my dad on my left and this like hot girl on my right, and I was just like, I'm just sitting there like, okay,
Yeah.
what an awkward experience. But
yeah, my dad took me to Titanic when that came out, and there's a scene there with I can't remember the actress's name, but she's topless in it, and my dad's like looking at me and my brother and like, oh man, what did I bring my kids to? And but my dad had a good time watching it because
I mean those scenes in Oppenheimer, by the way, they didn't even need to be in the movie at all. They were just like thrown in there.
There's probably just time fillers, like movies that like it's slow, they have to fill in time, so that's why.
Yeah, I mean it revolved around the story of this. I'm gonna spoil it slightly for you guys, but like this communist girl and him have like an affair, and like it was just like it was such an offbeat side story that you didn't really need to know in the movie. And as much as they dove into it, I was like, okay, just get over with it, man. I didn't come here to see that kind of movie. I came here to see a movie about the bomb. So, I mean, overall, I think that movie was really, really good. And Cillian Murphy is just a fantastic actor, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a cool movie.
What other TV shows I watch? It's Shameless. Have you ever seen that show? No, that's a good show. I like it. It's like a comedy drama. It's about these family that lives in the south side of Chicago. And like, it's like crazy. It's like the wild, wild west, you know? So, it's a good Shameless. I watched that before it was all cool and stuff like that. And, me and my, girlfriend, when we first started dating, we would stay up late watching episodes of that. I'm trying to think of some other, TV shows I watched, but anyways, I mean, it just pissed me off that I was paying like top dollar for these streaming services and there was never ever anything on, like nothing. Like I would get like, I'm searching with my remote through all like the titles. I'm like, my blood is boiling because I'm just paying so much and there's nothing on.
Yeah.
It's bad, but I don't know. But, yeah, I mean,
do you have any more topics that we on the docket?
Oh, so I wanted to talk about, so RG&E, right, sent out an email, to, customers, like it was almost like a newsletter, but, they had a picture of the wrong Rochester on it. It was
Rochester, Michigan or something?
It must have been.
I think there's a Rochester, Michigan.
Yeah. And it was the wrong Rochester. And so whoever does like the newsletter or social media or whatever should be fired because, Rochester, it's a company, based in Rochester, New York. Well, actually, no, they're not. They're based out of Boston, I think.
RG&E?
Yeah. Because I used to send my bills to a Boston address. So maybe their like billing departments is from Boston, but the company is in Rochester. I don't know. But anyways, it was funny. It was just like, you can't screw that up because, it's like, because when I saw the email, I was like, wait a minute, this is not the Rochester I know. And so then it blew up on social media that they put the wrong Rochester on.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
It's just like, it's almost insulting. It's like they make a ton of money.
They can't even get the freaking city right.
You can't get the city that, you're a part of right. So a lot of people were like, well, boycott RG&E, but there's not a lot of companies you can get electricity unless you want solar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a funny story. I mentioned this a little while back, but I got scammed from a solar company. They wanted me to switch to the solar company, and I did, and I ended up they charged me way too much money for electricity, and so I had to cancel it, and it took 3 months to cancel the whole thing. And so I don't know. Solar power is just it's a service that probably everyone's going to use eventually in the future.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
You don't think so?
I don't think you get as much electricity out of solar. Just to like, if you're saying like power the entire grid of like United States, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But like for individual homes and stuff like that, yeah, it works. I mean, it's just like nobody wants to see all those panels all over the place. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
Such an eyesore.
Yeah. I've seen a lot these days, like trucks with like, it had an advertisement on it saying like solar roofing. So your basically whole roof would be a solar panel.
Oh yeah.
But you got to think about this way. If one of those solar panels breaks, like the glass part of it, you have to replace that panel. And that's where they get you. They charge you a cheap price to install these,
and they're cheaply installed probably.
Oh yeah.
So that when they break, they
upcharge you and be like, hey, you have to, we charge you this much in the beginning, but a replacement that's going to cost you the big bucks. I was thinking about doing it when we bought this place, and it's just, it was cheaper just to get the regular shingles. And so, because when we bought this place, the roof was bad shape, really bad.
Yeah.
Well, this trailer's, I think, 1987 it was built. Someone put a lot of work into it. And so, but I bought it for dirt cheap, and I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, the lot fee is dirt cheap here. It's cheaper than any apartment you can get now. I own it, so I could sell it. And we did have it on the market, and I almost had a buyer, but then they bailed, and that pissed me off. So we took it off the market, and I got to do some work to it, but it's pretty cozy. I like it. We put about 10 grand into it just to fix it up. It's a lot of money, but it's your home. You gotta treat your home like, something you want to live in for the rest of your life.
Home is where the hardest.
Home is where the heart is, and
home is where the hardest.
Hardest.
I think it's a quote from The Office. I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I have anything else I want to really talk about. Yeah, so I think we're just going to wrap up the show. Unless you have anything you want to talk about.
No local stories or anything like that from the community?
No, it's been pretty quiet here for fall. Sometimes I'll go on Mobile Patrol. You ever heard of that? It's like an app where you can find people that have been arrested, and they'll tell you what the charge is and whatnot. And I think it was last fall, there was a kid I went to high school with, and he was bombed out of his mind, and he drove right into a house.
Oh man!
Hit the propane tanks.
Yeah.
And it exploded.
Oh,
so
was he okay?
I think he actually got out of the situation, took a bus to New York City. And so the cops were waiting for him there.
Just to get off the bus.
To get off the bus and get arrested, and then have to drive all the way back to Ontario County to get arraigned. And so, yeah, he's lucky he didn't die, because he just rammed right into the propane tanks, like these two
That's
big
crazy.
propane. And my girlfriend, I was sleeping at the time, and she was like, I heard a big boom, and you were just snoring away. I'm like, yeah, because I'm a heavy sleeper. I am the heaviest sleeper. But yeah, I mean, the kid, I went to high school with him. I partied with him a couple times in my time, but I didn't like him, and still don't like him. I don't know why. He's kind of a shady character. He's been in and out of jail, and
I get you.
yeah, he's not. I mean, some people, that are never going to change, and he was one of them. So, but yeah, no really crazy stories. It's been quiet in the park here. Summer times in the trailer park, man, they're wild. Loud music, kids running around, people fighting in the trailer park. It's something you've seen the show Trailer Park Boys, right?
Yep.
Yeah. It's dead on.
It was based off of this place.
Yeah. Okay. It's based on it's just, you hear them yelling at each other, and cats fighting. That's the other thing too. You'll hear in the middle of the night, screeching, these cats screeching at the top of their lungs. It's kind of eerie, but in the wintertime, they all migrate underneath the trailers. And so you got to make sure the skirting of the trailer is good, because they'll fucking piss and shit underneath the trailer, and it just accumulate into the trailer.
That's disgusting.
When we first bought this place, there was cats living underneath the trailer. So we had to get new skirting. We had to fix it and stuff like that. And then we had to go underneath and make sure there was no other cats living in there, like kittens or anything like that. So, but yeah, I mean, there's downfalls to owning a trailer and whatnot. So, I mean, but it's cheap living. It's one of the good things about living in a trailer. It's cheap living. But the only downside of it is, there's sketchy people that live in the trailer park sometimes, and drunk people and people. We have in the front of the park there, it's nice, but in the back of the park, you don't go back there. It's sketchy. It's, that's why I have cameras around the house, because, someone breaks in, you got to know where your shit is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's something living in a trailer park, but I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I think that's all I had really to talk about this week. I'll have a laundry list of things next time that we can talk about. But
right.
It's I plan these episodes out. I have all these things, and then I never write them down. And and the things that I pick up during the week, I remember, and then I talk about them. So that was a Bogart podcast this week. Find us on all social medias. Email the show, thebogartpodcast@gmail.com. We don't have a phone number anymore, so don't call it. I think it goes to a Google thing now. Yeah, so until next time, we'll see you on the other side. This has been a Beer Pirate Radio production.